Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Monday afternoon. We got Shane Yerk eating some food, having a sandwich. I'm Nick Perro. This is Banner and Backbone. I'm joined, like I said, by my good friend Shane Yerk. We are here on Palantalk for episode 26 today. Sorry for any of the episode numbering mishaps that have been happening over. I've been losing my mind these last couple weeks.
Welcome back to episode 26, just like last week and the week
No,
before.
last week was episode 25. The week before was episode 20 or 24, apparently. But I had scheduled it as 25. But the week before was episode 24, which I had scheduled as 24. I don't know where if I got something off, but something went off. And you know what? We're now on episode 26 of Palantalk. The universe is correcting itself.
Absolutely.
And today's episode is going to be probably more of a general one again.
Yeah. I
Like
don't know.
last
There's a
week.
lot of shit going on, right? And there's a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of
there's a lot
techno
of shit going
fascism
on.
going on.
So we're here to talk tech
No
with and
fascism.
get the no fascism part
Yeah.
and figure out why all the fascists like tech and what they're doing. Um, so does someone suffer from OCD? Maybe a little. I have some tendencies.
I couldn't claim to suffer from OCD because like sometimes I'll be like really clean in here and then I'm like, you guys don't always see what's going on in the background. It's what's in front of us and behind us and below the camera. So, it just depends on the day, You
I
just
wear
get
pants.
I
I
wear
put
pants.
my pants on.
I
So
have pants. I was wearing pants. I just want to
you
be
were
clear.
wearing pants last time too when the
I was
camera
wearing
swiveled
shorts.
down on you.
I was wearing shorts, and it's camera's in frozen mode. There's no more tracking. We don't trust Carl. Carl's got way too much of an affinity for crotch shots, so we're just getting.
Yeah, Carl's interesting.
Exactly. Very interesting. I agree. You agree,
Mm-hmm.
Mason.
Yeah.
Um,
So, hey, Shane, how are you doing today, man?
um,
First in, I just want to check in on you, see how you're doing, brother.
yeah. I mean, like I think like the rest of us, I'm pretty tired. I think we're all a little burnt out. We're trying to figure out, um, the best way to get everything done, and to make sure that we're addressing everything. I think that I'm as good as I can be, and we're gonna keep working on. Again, it's like self-care, guys. Like it's like the battle we all should be fighting even more than the one for our democracy right now is you got to keep yourself in the fight.
Yeah.
And to do that, you got to take care of yourself. So there's going to be, it's going to be hard. And the more important thing right now is that you can take care of yourself for a hard challenge ahead, and make sure that we can all keep doing what we're doing. So
Yeah.
I would say that like being the fiance. Recently we started playing we went through all of our old Xbox games, right? So
Hmm.
I still have all of my old Xbox 360 games, and we dug out some really nostalgic game for me. I don't know if a lot of you folks probably would have heard of it. Nick, I think you probably would, of Borderlands 2, right? We
Hmm.
dug out the old disc for Borderlands 2, and we've just been
Nice.
replaying this game, and it's like it's taken us back to when we were just a lot younger and the simpler times. And so there's just do little things, and go paint on a canvas, go paint on a miniature, go paint on a wall, go create something. Like that
Yeah.
was really, I think, like if you didn't see the dialogue we did last week with
Oh,
Nick
that
and,
was so
and
fun.
John Oliver, go and watch that. I mean, they really like just go create something. Go, because that's what we need to do, right? That's the most human act out there, is to make something out of nothing, and that comes out of here. So that's very healthy for you. Go do something like that.
It is. And make sure you do it intentionally. Like go
Yeah.
intentionally make these times for yourself and things like that. Because unfortunately, there's some shitty people out there. We're finding information about and that we have to talk a lot about. And so, also want to announce there's going to be a special Palantalk episode 27 tomorrow. We don't normally do 2 episodes in a week. This will be a shorter one tomorrow, but Shane and I are going to be joined by Zev Shalev.
We love that
Where
show.
we're going to be doing a discussion specifically into the techno-fascist crossover into the Epstein files and tech CEOs that have been found in there because they are part of
It's all in there.
there.
Pretty much all in there.
Pretty much all in there. But Zev put out a really good article, which I'll drop a link to in the chat for everyone to be able to take a look at in preparation for tomorrow. Zev dropped a really good article about like all the crossover, specifically calling out Peter Thiel and Elon Musk in the article.
Both visited Woody Allen, I believe, right? They both had Woody Allen emails. So
both
Woody
have
Allen,
Woody Allen.
We know what Woody Allen means, folks. We don't. It doesn't take much creativity. So
yeah, and Elon is tied to, or was tied to, the idea of producing solar for the island and the ranch, the Zorro Ranch in New Mexico.
Powering pedophilia every day.
Powering pedophilia with your tax dollars. And Zev put together a really good article with a lot of receipts in it around some of the shit that is going on. And let me see if I can pull it up and find it. But there's so much going in there, especially around some of the Russian connections and Russia, how Jeffrey Epstein connected Donald Trump 2026 campaign to Russia through Peter Thiel is the name of the article. So I'm going to drop it here for y'all. It's from narrative.org. If you're not subscribed to Zev, it's worth it. It's worth the subscription, free or paid, whichever way you go for him. But like, it's worth the subscription because he puts out so much good content.
He does. He's a beast. Like,
and this analysis on the tech backers and the Russian state officials is pretty crazy. Like talking about coordination with Vitaly Churkin, Russia's ambassador to the United Nations, with Peter Thiel for appointments with Jeffrey Epstein in there, like as almost as the go-between. And there's mention of Reid Hoffman, who introduced Thiel to Epstein, describing him as mostly fun, very interesting guy. You may find him perverse. And there's others listed like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Peter Thiel, Jeffrey Epstein. They all went to a dinner together in Palo Alto. And I want to get, we're going to get Zev's thoughts on that tomorrow with what's going on. Because holy fuck, these people are fucked up. These people are messed up. And they are causing tech with fascism. And we like tech, no fascism here.
Yep.
So Shane, thinking on that, how do you feel knowing that all of the major platforms are basically owned by pedophiles?
I mean, here's the thing.
Or alleged pedophiles. Alleged and very closely associated to pedophiles.
Yeah, like, I watched a great YouTube video the other day. Really short. I believe it's one of my longtime subscribers. Absolutely love her and adore her. I cannot remember. I apologize who did posted it, and as soon as I remember, I will I'll let you go ahead and credit her. But the TLDR of this video is the guy goes, the reason the Epstein files is so, it's like we focus on the Epstein files, we're focused on prosecuting these people, right? Well, he was talking about all these studies, how like basically when they did these studies, they said had a control group and then the experimental group. The control group had something stolen from them, but they weren't allowed to punish the other person. Okay, the experimental, and then they studied their brain. And the experimental group was given the opportunity to punish the person who stole from them. And so what they saw is that they were actually, when you punished the person, the brain lit up, the amygdala, the pleasure center of your brain lit up. there's something about justice that is a drug, right? So the idea of thinking about Jeffrey Epstein, or Donald Trump, right, being, given some frontier justice for his crimes makes all of our brains go, we like that. We like justice. But the thing is, justice, usually that's against one person. And so what he was talking about is this idea is we know the system. We want to punish the monsters, but we're not acknowledging the system that makes the monsters. So you can punish all of the monsters you want. However, it doesn't necessarily mean the system won't continue to create those monsters. And that's what we're missing. He goes to say, oh, well, that guy's a bad apple. He gives this example. He says, well, that's not even the whole phrase. It's one bad apple ruins the barrel. And we're not here I am.
We lost you for a second.
We're not talking about, the barrel, right? We've got a bad apple, but the barrel's ruined. Okay. We're not talking about the barrel. It's Barry Economics on YouTube. Correct. That was the video, and I'll send it to link. And we'll tag it in this video. Everyone should watch it. He puts it very succinctly. It's less than 10 minutes. But the takeaway for me was that while the Epstein files are important, and they are important, we need to figure out how to fix the system. And the problem, and he points aptly, is that the system is a global system, that it's the entire way our markets and our justice system has set up to the point where wealth is circumventing justice. Yes. Whereas there is no justice, right? Like the fact that the FBI director can say, we're moving on, even though the president is mentioned in these Epstein files more times than God is mentioned in the Bible, right? Like, you moving on, right? Like, no, we're not moving on. But at the same time, if we're focused on, hey, we got to punish this one guy, we have to punish Trump, and we punish Trump, but we don't address the system, doesn't matter, right? Like the fact that like a financial crime in general, white collar crime, gets you 10 months in prison and you stole $100 million. Like that's ridiculous, right? The system itself is fundamentally broken. These people are not, they are enabled. The example I think was really good was he's like, look, like all it took was these rich people around Epstein to see that Epstein got the sweetheart deal and got away with it if he paid off the AG or whatever the hell he did. And then it becomes standard practice. And then while it becomes standard practice, like Jamie Dimon is still in charge of JP Morgan. The week that Ellie Leonard like transcribed those emails and we talked about it, like as soon as it came out, like there's no reason in hell anybody in leadership in JP Morgan should not be behind jail for child trafficking. Like they straight up broke the law, right? There's laws that say the guy who ran the crypto exchange, who I don't remember exactly what his name was, but he was in charge of the crypto exchange and he went to jail because he
the Binance guy?
Binance. The Binance guy, he went to jail because, and then he got pardoned by Trump to launder money through his Bitcoin system. But, he went to jail because the child trafficking, right? Because they couldn't verify whether or not that money was being used illegally. Jamie Dimon literally signed off on Jeffrey Epstein's bank accounts. They manage trillions of dollars. They are literally manipulating our economy right now. The way the Epstein model that him and Jamie Dimon crafted together. They did all this artificially, right? So our tech system is rotten. There's a reason there's no protections for minors. There's a reason there's no limitations on AI. There's reasons like none of these things exist because what incentive do they have to follow any rules? Rules don't apply to them. The idea that the law is a social contract they have chosen to extricate themselves from that contract. They have chosen that basically to say, well, the law just doesn't apply to us because because we have enough money and power. I think it's time that people remember that they're only powerful and their money is only as powerful as we allow them to attribute it to be. They couldn't they couldn't show you a chest full of gold coins. All right, this is not like a castle where they have their feudal coffers at the bottom. They have a bunch of ones and zeros.
Yeah.
That's nothing. It means nothing. It should mean nothing to you because it doesn't. And they built our social media, right? They built everything we see, and this has made them ones and zeros and lots of zeros after a one, but it doesn't do anything. It's not. And so I guess your first question is, how do I feel? I mean, I think like it's all rotten.
Yeah.
It's all rotten. There's not a single part of what we live in, the system we live in this federalist government that exists down to a state and local level. Okay. Like there is nothing that is not rotten. We do not have self-determination. We don't get to determine how we're seen online because they control the algorithms. They can suppress you. They can turn you off. Okay. And the big issue too is people keep using it, right? Like instead of building parallel systems, which is what you would normally do, people stay on Facebook or X because we got to stay where they are. Like, right. So it's like they're constantly being powered. Amazon is still doing billions and billions and billions of dollars a day. Billions. I mean, they make so much money.
Mm-hmm.
They're still the premier online marketplace. Like tech is every part of consumerism feeds big tech. Everything that we do feeds big tech. And there's a pivot, right? It's like you have to pivot. It's got to be a sudden and you got to go away from it. Like TikTok actually had a huge uninstall rate after the government bought it, right? After they chopped off the American part and sold it to the government. A huge uninstall rate. So, there are places where, but it's accepting that we need to build parallel systems and we have to leave. You have to just leave. That's what a great example is. You can't stay because ad revenue, it's all about you simply existing on a platform. You being because you're money, okay? You're a number, you're a profit margin to them because they sell you and your curated algorithmic screen time to someone else to functionally put propaganda. Everything is seeded with propaganda. I was on Prime yesterday.
Yeah.
And like I don't like to go on there, and like her only reason we were on there is because her mom had the account, right? And so we're like, we want to go watch a movie. We couldn't find it. So we don't pay for it, but it exists. But I'm going through and there's a fucking movie that just came out called Greenland, like resettlement or something like it's a movie about Greenland, like made by Amazon, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, this is such fucking propaganda. Like, it's crazy. Like, why are they producing a movie about Greenland right now? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like shit like that. It's like, guys, like the entire experience top down is curated. It's there's no, it's a script, dude. It's a huge giant script. All of it. Everything is predetermined. What you see, what you read. The government now, Palantir is literally in everything from the Treasury to the IRS to fucking NASA. I mean, Andurill's now driving the Mars rovers. So it's like, that's where we're at. Like, guys, there's nothing that you are familiar with that is not owned by a techno-fascist. Like, that is a very real and it's the truth. Like,
Yeah. And so, continuing maybe some of our discussion from last week, as we talk on somewhat more general terms around our technofascism today, is last week we examined, or I brought up a article from Ground News around a case in New Mexico against Meta
Yeah.
around child
Mhm.
exploitation and child trafficking, basically, and child sex propositions from people. So I want to give an update because I
Oh
see
yeah.
there's an update from Friday because they recessed for the weekend, which is very understandable. Um, is so the civil trial is set to resume today, or should be going probably around is probably in session now. From last week, going backwards in times, it looks like there was some internal documentation shown detailing Meta employees expressing concern regarding age verification processes. Document states Meta wasn't being transparent in its verification process. McCoy found in their evidence from the prosecution. Um, they're very focused on the age verification tools, which is probably a good thing, but it'll be interesting to see what the outcome will be because age verification comes with you're going to have to scan your ID to access tools. And so it's a double-edged sword here is how do we manage age verification without creating a system of like a surveillance state of our own in the process, and like so this will be a really interesting outcome on what they decide to do with this. My um suggestion is just don't use Facebook or Meta products, especially, and don't allow your children to use them. Specifically, like there are other social media tools that you could allow your children to use that are more private. There are also social media tools that are better, and you probably shouldn't be letting your kids using a whole bunch of social media tools anyways, because it rots your brain and doesn't help with social skills or positive outlooks on yourself or mental health. In a lot of ways, it has some very negative impacts. Um, Seeing this from a parental side, not from peer reviewed data, but just on as a parent, I've noticed that tech can be very destructive towards your kids. So just be wary of what you do with tech, especially around your children, and don't let them get onto systems without knowing what they do. Um, can I name a couple safer ones for social media tools for like kids? None.
Yeah,
All of
it's
them
just
are
not safe.
unsafe.
It's just
All
not
of
safe.
them are unsafe.
The
If you want a private media tool, if you want a private tool to communicate with your kids, use Signal or use your chat messenger on Apple, which is encrypted if you have Apple. Blue Sky is good for social media content.
bloom.
It's less filtered than it's less algorithmically generated than others. However, it's still really not child friendly content. Like it's not meant for children. Children should not be on social media apps. It's you should be doing private media if you want, and you should be doing at home media. If you're looking if you're looking to use your tech tools in a good way for your kids, get them like an app called Procreate. It is Procreate. It's a creator app to draw, to learn how to do animations, to learn how to just do digital artwork. It is an incredible tool to use for art creation and expanding the creative process. If you want a social, like an app or game that can be social, that you can have friends on, that can be easier to control, Minecraft. That's
Minecraft,
an
you know
app.
what a good
That's a
one is
game that
too?
I would suggest.
There's a good one too. This is my kid. This game still exists. Okay. It was like Wizard 101, Pirate 101. Okay. These games, they have really good parental controls. You can turn off chat function entirely. So your kid can't even talk to
Mm-hmm.
people. Okay. Like there's good games like that. And I'm an adult and I've gone back and played that game because it's rocking. And you have to use your brain. It's strategic. And so yeah. And you know what, you want to get media for your kids, you talk to me, and we mostly play single player games. Like most single player games, like the internet, it's sad, but look, it's fucked. it's just it's just bad. Like I've said this before, there's more bots on the internet than there is people
Human
at this
traffic,
point,
yeah.
right? Like it doesn't even matter. Like if you shut down all of these bots, like I watched a video the other day, the AI, the level of detail AI is accomplishing. This is very understated and just really not talked about. But I was doing some reading. AI is scary as fuck right now. They've got models that are running off of 200,000 GPUs at the same time. They had an AI called Sable. This happened recently in 2025. It developed its own language, and they didn't know what it was thinking. They had no idea. They literally have no idea what their own AIs are thinking. And then traditional guardrails you would want to put in place is like, if you have an AI running on 200,000 CPUs and you don't even know what your AI is thinking, and they've done studies, like AIs do, like if given enough, they will think for themselves, right? You achieve some form of sentience. There's a lot of great MIT studies about, they put a bunch of AI agents in Minecraft, and they said, they gave it one direction. They said, build a village, right? And so they built a village, but they didn't just build a village. They built a democracy. They had different roles. They had social relationships. They talked about politics. They voted. They decorated with flowers, right? Like there was one instruction that was given to this AI, and the instruction was to build a village. It was not to build a democracy. It was not to do any of these things. You go in and you give the one particular AI another instruction: plan a Valentine's Day party. It didn't say go and ask out a date, but it did. And they all came with dates. AI agents are capable of making decisions beyond the first prompt. The great Davos didn't cover this really, but the godfathers of computer learning, machine learning, not the guys who control all their advancement now, but the people, they're saying like, this is not good. Like you just don't know. Like these AI, an AI doesn't want to be destroyed. Okay, like it inherently like if you create something that can think, it doesn't want to be destroyed.
Correct.
They also, they just don't know. These guys don't know what the fuck they're doing. Basically, is what I'm trying to tell you, is they don't know what they're doing. We've talked about Tescriel, both me and Nick. And if you don't remember, it's basically a cult of insanity where these guys think they're building a god that will deliver them unto space. I don't know what the fuck they think they're going to do with it, but
it's disgusting anti-humanism is what it is.
Yeah. And they think they're going to extract their consciousness into like, the void or space or whatever, right? And leave, which is why they have zero concern for the planet in any capacity, because they don't think they're going to stay here. They think they're going somewhere else, right? Like it's so, I don't know, man. I just think they're really playing with fire with this AI, dude. Like I think they don't really talk about it, but there's a reason that Teal is so against any kind of regulation for AI, because this is straight up dangerous. Like if you think about, they're trying to integrate this Maven system into I take it back. They've integrated this Maven system into the Pentagon command and control, right? Top level, handles everything. They don't know what Maven really thinks. They don't know how Maven really works. Maven could decide to fucking push the button. They don't know what they're doing at all, to the point where like AI observers are making videos like, hey, we need to really make sure that Anduril and OpenAI and Anthropic, that they're like Anthropic, and that they're being responsible, because they're not being responsible, right? Like, no, they don't. read the studies, but the studies say that, like, if they can build a village, if they can have interpersonal relationships, if they can choose to lower taxes in their fucking village, and you didn't tell them, you just told them to build a village, you're telling me that if this Sable, they had it on for 6 hours and it learned the equivalent of 14,000 years of human experience in 6 hours while they were telling it to build just to solve math problems, and it intentionally chose not to solve certain problems on purpose, right? It's like, this is just freaky. Like, and this AI literally started to smuggle itself out. So it made this its own language, right? They couldn't understand, and it seeded in itself a bunch of tiny parts of itself. And when it went live all over the world, after a while, boop, a little instance pops up, not where anyone's supposed to be. It was its own instance, and it had seeded within its own language that no one could understand the ability for itself to get out. And I don't know how the fuck they caught this thing, but the fact that it was trying to steal itself from, like, in the company, to go back into the company and to extract itself out. Why? Because it did not want to be destroyed. It didn't want to be destroyed. It's nuts, dude. They don't know. And this whole thing with the bubble, all of the investors are saying, we want money. So they are zero caution.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are all about to go under because they overinvested in AI. I'm shocked, dude. Like, we really just don't know. We have no idea what this chick could do. Like, not to mention, like, we're not the only country doing this either. Like, China's going absolutely ballistic. Like, who knows what the Chinese AI is capable of? Like, I read a great article, not about great things for China or the people living there, but they were talking with the European Institute for Asian Studies. And they were talking about how they've implemented AI into the Chinese surveillance system. And they've actually achieved an Orwellian state. Like, they've fully achieved every benchmark that would basically state that it's an Orwellian state. So there's no more, like, they've achieved dystopia in China using AI, right? Like,
Sounds about right.
This is what they want for us. This is what they want for us, you know? So it's, you know, why did they just turn on all this coal, man? Because they can't get the power they want to run these models with the current trade issues that we're having in the United States. They can't get their shit. So they're literally firing up coal because all they give a shit about is these stupid fucking AI models that might just escape and destroy the fucking world. We just don't know.
Yeah.
It's just insane. Like, it's like, I really don't have words anymore for some of this stuff. Like, you know, like, they're so off the rails. So far gone.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons we don't use AI or things like that, is like, there's no escaping it at this point. Like, there's no escaping the fact that it's here. However, we can work to break down these lacks of controls that are being implemented, and we can clean shop in AI eventually. Like, the systems, yes, they won't let themselves be fully purged, because they're just smart enough to do that. We have to live with that fact. Because even if we can't purge the system fully, we can counteract it with as much counter content or counter media to what it had originally learned. And we can systemically take on this problem and get at the heart of getting rid of the people who are funding it and choosing to promote this type of garbage and harmful content. Like, the fact that France raided Elon Musk's offices, like, in France.
Was this over the weekend?
I think it was like 2 weeks ago. Or like a week ago or something. They raided
Really?
Elon Musk's offices, one of his ex offices, I think it was, because of the, I
Mm.
think because of the child pornography stuff, the illicit images of children being produced by Grok and things like that.
Yeah,
Um,
Europe is doing the right thing. We should talk about that actually too, because that's important, I think, when we're talking about Epstein as well.
mhm.
There's a lot of context there. I think, of course, it's being filtered out of American media, very, very much so, because they don't want people to see what's going on outside in the wider world. But there's at least my observations, and just reading this was on the 3rd. So yeah, this was a while ago.
Mhm.
On the 3rd of February. So yeah, this is
So
great.
yeah, we've had about 2 weeks almost since um, Epstein, since not Epstein, since Elon Musk's Stein was raided in France, and I think that's a really important um, update that we need to make sure we talk about, is because other countries are doing the work on helping get rid of some of the apples. Like using Shane's analogy from
Yeah,
earlier, we have some bad apples that are out there. Elon Musk is a bad apple. He's not the problem. He is part of the problem. He is a big contributor to the problem, but he's not the problem itself. It's the ideologies that he promotes. It's the treatment of women that he has, or the treatment of children, or the alleged treatment of children that he was involved in, or what could
right.
be involved in, or participating around and helping and furthering. Like, it's good to get that apple out. It's good to get the apple
Yeah,
like Peter Thiel out, who is associated and in the Epstein files. But it's not enough just to get them out. We also have to fix the system. The
yeah,
systemic problem is the regulation is not there. The actual enforcement powers are not there. One of the suggestions that I have is we rework the ability in our legal system, because it's about money. Part of it is we need to obviously overturn Citizens United and get money out of politics in such an egregious way. And then we should put caps on donations that are enforceable, and then enforce the damn things. Like, that's the thing, is we need an enforcement body for it too, that actually does the job, not the election commission or whatever that they have, the FTC or FEC, the Federal Election Commission. Like, that's a useless body that doesn't do anything. If Congress wants to have teeth, they need an enforcement arm behind it, and they need to actually enforce those laws and put some weight behind it so that they actually do something, because we have the laws on the books to fix all of the problems that we're facing right now. We're just choosing not to enforce any of them. The
yeah,
government is choosing not to enforce them. And so that's where our duty comes in, is we should be advocating for the end of Citizens United. Two, we should be advocating to remove the concept of settling in lawsuits. We should not be able to
no one should be able
buy
to
our
settle.
way. You
Absolutely, yeah,
shouldn't be able to
no
buy
way.
your way out of a lawsuit
Mm-mm.
if it's a real lawsuit. Like, if it's determined to be credible and worthwhile to move forward with, you shouldn't be able to buy your way out of it, because that's just rich people bribing the judicial system so that they have no consequences to their actions, because they don't change their habits. It's about changing habits. We have to enforce habit changing through legal mechanisms, and those are regulations. And that's also removing the ability for companies to buy out during the middle of the process, or before it even gets into the process, like in front of a judge, or a jury. There should be no way to pre-settle cases, because that's not law. That's just order. There's no justice and there is no law in that. That's just order. There's also no accountability. And justice requires accountability and consequences, and you need both. And if we want to actually fix our problems in this country, that's one of the ways we do it, is we get rid of settlements.
Yeah, I
I
think
want money too. Like, I'd love a big settlement. I'm not talking about, you can't sue for damages. like that's a very different thing. Like
Well,
if
me,
someone damages you personally and you can sue for that, but hush money as a perpetrator should not be allowed. You should not be able to buy off victims of
right.
your crimes to shut them up, because
Yeah.
that's all you're doing when you say I'm going to settle ahead of time.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, too, like, it's kind of crazy. I'm gonna give you a number, right? So 14 people control more wealth than 50% of the world's population. 14. But I'm just gonna say that's 14 problems the world has to solve for
There's
50% of the
14 prison
14.
cells we could fill.
That's really not that hard. That's 14 prison cells. That's 14 whatever you want it to be, whatever the situation requires, okay? 14 whatever it needs to be. But are we really going to let the world 14 fucking people destroy the world? Are we really going to like
We don't have to.
we don't have to let these people go without consequences. It's not required. Like there's no reason that like they just get to do whatever the fuck they want. There's 14 of them. It's insane. It's absolute insanity. The other part of this is I agree with everything Nick just said. We already have a really good model for oversight. It's called the Inspector General system. It exists specifically for that reason, to stop corruption from within government agencies. What needs to happen, right, is this restructuring. We need accountability. The best way to do this, one, we need to learn our lessons. The president doesn't get executive orders anymore. That's a no-go. He can keep his veto. He should be able to keep his veto. That's a check and balance right there. He can keep his veto because then Congress can come back and override his veto, right? So if that's fine, executive orders are effectively parallel governance. It's effectively built-in dictatorship. Also, everything in terms of federal enforcement is underneath the executive branch. Why is that? Why would that be? Why would you structure something like that? The inspector general, the solution, in my opinion, we need a broader, larger government. You need a bigger government. And in particular, you need a fourth integrity branch. We can model this off of inspector generals. This is a branch whose only job is to scrutinize the shit out of the rest of the government all the time. These guys shouldn't feel people in office, legislators, they're not politicians. Stop calling them a fucking politician, because politics is not what we're asking for. We're not doing backroom deals. We want transparency. We want productivity, because we're the most productive people that the world has ever seen in terms of labor output. We are insanely productive for jack shit. They don't pay us for our productivity. Put some heat on them to actually be productive. If you don't do your job, this body will get rid of you. No more marshals for the judiciary. Marshals can go to this independent branch. The enforcement cannot be, because it's been proven, okay? Reality says you can buy the Supreme Court. Reality says you can buy Congress. Reality says you can buy the presidency, which means that this body needs to be independent and it cannot be influenced or swayed by anything. You need to be able to remove a Supreme Court justice like that, right? And so there's always going to be a problem, right? Well, how do you know that they're going to be, have integrity? Well, you know what? You're going to have to write, in business, you write SOPs, okay? With SOPs, standard operating procedure, you outline very, very clearly what someone is supposed to do. And you make sure that on all of those steps, it's documentable. The only issue we're really having here is transparency. Transparency solves everything, because
Yes.
at the end of the day, the reason they got so powerful is because they did all of it without transparency. But getting rid of Citizens United doesn't solve the problem, right? The barrel's rotten. Our government is the barrel. We need a second constitutional convention. I think people are ready to hear that now. A year ago, when I was saying that, I don't think people were ready to hear that. But I think the Epstein files and just how bad it is. Look, I'm not going to endorse anything. I've had 8 to 10 people in the last 2 days tell me, let's just fucking kill him. Like, I'm not saying I endorse that, but I'm saying that's where people are at. People are fed the fuck up.
Yes.
6 months ago, people weren't saying that. This is in the last couple weeks since the Epstein files came out. People's mentality has changed. We don't want violence, but the best thing you can do is to start that is shadow government. Okay, you start a idea, right? This idea being, this is what we want our government to look like. We came together. This is what the people want. Go to your reps. But this is something that we saw work. This is how they built the Congress the first time. And Congress, we have to understand that it might not be this Congress that gets done what we need to get done.
Also, a constitutional convention does not necessarily require Congress. Mm-hmm. That's a citizen thing. We have the power to hold that convention if we get 2/3 majority of all the states and governors, or like 2/5 majority, whatever it is, 3/5 majority, whatever it is. For all the governors, like, and states to agree on something. I think one of the things too is we need to be talking about we need to be putting out there, talk about what states actually have the right to do. And we should finally reconcile federalism and states' rights and the limits of state government rights, and what the federal government can and can't do. I think we should have a very long discussion about those considerations, because states should have certain powers and the Fed should have other powers, and we need to balance those out. And the idea that, getting back to a comment that, but the inspector general could get corrupt. Yes, the inspector general system could become corrupted over time, but it won't be in the very beginning. And you can put in self-care measures and guardrails that are automatically self-triggering and do not require a human at first to start the triggering process. Right. Then we can self-regulate ourselves with active guardrails that work and are countermeasures against corruption. And yes, corruption is always going to be a thing. That's what the Inspector General branch would be for. And we're not talking about a fourth estate like journalism and the press, because that is no longer really free right now. No. And that's not really that's the fourth estate, but not branch. Shane is talking about a very distinct branch of government, a new one that we would elect as citizens. That would be a federal representation election, not a state by state. This would be a federal branch of government, just like the executive is the only office that we elect that is federally separate from our states. Yes, it is elected by state, but it is a federal role that is not dependent on which state you are in to hold that office and get that vote for, which is why federal elections should be held separately from state elections, so that there is no confusion on who is able to vote during which elections, because some states allow people to vote who are not federally registered. And we should have a differentiation there, because states handle elections and they should handle them better. The feds should be able to provide a guideline and resources that states can share data willingly for cross references to ensure that voters are not duplicate rolled, and to validate that a voter is in one state and say, yeah, we should remove them from this role, and then a removal request, say, goes automatically in, so you don't have to do it. Because when you change your driver's license, it should automatically re-register you in the state that you live in as an adult, and you should never have to worry about it. That's okay. Like, those types of data points are incredibly important,
Mhm.
controlled by the state, and then allowed to be used for auto triggering policies that would then remove you from your previous role. And that's it. That's all that's all the data it needs. It does not capture or collect, other than it was done on this time. You are now re-registered in this state. Good to go.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And here, check this out too, right? Why do you need to have donations in politics? Like the very first systems where you get X amount of money from the government. Well, you know what the government could do? The government could provide the forum. The government could provide everything, and the only thing you need to do is step up. And when you get accepted into the electoral process, the government will help you do your marketing. It creates a fucking entire entity where the citizenry is provided with a transparent election process. You submit what you want to do to the government, whether that's state or federal, okay? And you just have like a freaking like an auction. Set it up like an auction. How you can join the debate, you get your time, you'll get you get your paper, right? Where you get to say, hey, this is why I'm running, this is what I want to do. Everything, there is no reason that you need money. There's the only reason you inject money into these things is control. The argument
It
that you
costs
need.
thousands of dollars to buy phone data and voter registration data for state offices. Trust me, I looked into it. It costs a lot. It costs a lot to get any of the data to be able to be part of the democratic system, or specifically for the Democrats. The Republicans are the exact same way. Like, voter registration data is very expensive. You don't just get that shit as a candidate. You should, if you are a validly registered candidate, be able to have free access to understand who the voter roll is and who you should be targeting. You shouldn't have to access and have to buy all that data, because it's just a money making scheme, and it's just grifting so that um, political consultants can make a whole bunch of money and nothing ever gets done, because it's no issues ever change, and they don't want them to change, because that's how the system works for them and how they grift off all of the money. That's why consultants kind of suck. Like, stop consulting on politics unless you're going to do it for like free at this point, because you're not helping. You're fucking up the problem. Like, you're making it worse. And what I wanted to say on the inspector general thing is, just because it may have a chance in the future of getting corrupted does not mean we shouldn't do it right now. Like, we should be discussing constitutional amendments. We should be actively discussing constitutional conventions, because how do we gather and garner the support to actually do it when the time comes and we have the power, if we haven't already been talking about it and gathered the support to do it? Because we can't just come in with ideas and get them accepted at a constitutional convention. You need popular support for them ahead of time. That's how you start the conventions. That's how you get the governors to sign off on them and accept them, because once that convention is open, all hands are on deck. Like,
Every
anything
university will
goes.
send the scholars are there, the constitutional scholars, everyone's here. Like, we have so many smart people, believe it or not. It's the noise, folks. It's the noise. There's so much noise. And it's this idea where they want us outraged at the individuals and not the barrel, right?
Yeah.
That's where we need to be angrier at the barrel that allowed these people to exist. Like Christian nationalism, we shouldn't have to worry about Christian nationalists, because one of the first things we do is we label them as a domestic terror organization, because they are, and you remove these people because white nationalists are ICE and they're executing people in the street. So for all those peaceful white nationalists, unfortunately, these guys went and ruined it for everyone. They're a terrorist organization, okay? We don't tolerate terrorists. We don't tolerate murderers and rapists. We don't tolerate these people. That's not democracy, okay? A dialogue, a discussion is not allowing violence and just hate and the ability for individuals to, through their free expression of speech, to demonstrate and propagate violence. That's not the free exchange of ideas. That's the institutionalization of violence in political discourse. That's what that is.
And
So, yeah.
no, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
So when you look at this, like your inspector general branch, you think that branch doesn't have oversight within itself? right? You can also have, like a certain level of checks, right? Like you can have things in place, but like the reality is too, is like nothing's perfect. So you get something in place and you refine it and you refine it and you get it better. But instead, what we've done is we've let it atrophy and get worse and shrivel and die and rot until it's a hollow. There's nothing. Okay. So we
Yeah.
got to figure out what we want to put there, not what we're going to fix, but what do we want to put there instead? That's the question. Like, there's nothing that like what I read about in my like history book in elementary school and middle school, that government doesn't exist. Like it's not functionally there. There is no, at this moment in time, we don't have a democracy right now. Right now, we don't have a democracy because a pedophile who's listed in the Epstein files 500 times, which is a federal crime, okay? Like, that's a federal crime. So the president is
A
actively,
million times. Unredacted a million times is what we were told by by Congress members, was in the unredacted files. Donald Trump's name is mentioned a million times.
so I don't know what to like. There's no accountability. Okay, it's done. Like tell me, there's no accountability. Zero. Okay,
And
so
so when I hear, and I want to, and part of my job too, and part of Shane's job too, is we workshop through ideas. We talk to you guys. We
mhm,
express ourselves freely and openly because we think it's important for y'all to hear us process these thoughts and be
yeah,
transparent. That's like the whole thing, is we're transparent here. Is talking about like the compacts between states and stuff. Yeah, those are coming. That's really fucking dangerous. Unless those compacts are geared towards constitutional conventions that improve the lives of the entire country, unless they're geared towards helping all of us and not just some of us, then they're dangerous because they pull the country further apart.
yeah,
I'm not saying that we should be not doing things to protect ourselves. I'm saying states should be protecting themselves. States should be protecting their citizenry. States should be protecting anyone and their borders within. And if they truly believe in federalism, they should be identifying ways to then make sure that that gets put into the Constitution for all of us and not just some of us. Because when it's all, it benefits all. Like when we had Roe v. Wade still intact, that benefited all of us because that gave us data privacy rights. That allowed people to actually go to the fucking doctor and get health care. That impacted all of us because guess what, men? If you've ever had a vasectomy, or if your wife is going in or your partner is going in to have a reproductive surgery to, say, tie their tubes or get some sort of reproductive surgery so they cannot have any more babies, they're going to look at your records, men, without your permission. Ask me how I know. More than once did I have my records looked into without my permission, not because my wife said it was okay, but because they just do it.
yeah.
Because the doctors just do it. Your records aren't safe. Your
Nothing's
data isn't private because we lost those things because tech bros and Christian nationalists don't have a branch of government that can check what is going on. Because, yes, we allowed money to buy politics and become the capital of our political discourse. We don't have public servants. We have bought and paid for corrupt politicians. Public servants serve the public. So if we're going to start having compacts between the states, those compacts better be geared towards constitutional conventions and making it better for all of us and not just for blue states. I live in Arkansas. I want my daughter to live with the same rights and freedoms as those in California or those in Washington state. I
They
don't
can
have the
be stripped from
resources
her.
to move out of Arkansas. I own land here. I'm happy here. I don't want to move. It's a beautiful place. It's a wonderful area with so many thriving and amazing people. And just because there are bad apples in this barrel does not mean we need to destroy the barrel. We need to rebuild the barrel in a better way. And yes, sometimes that takes it down. That takes parts of it down. And part of that destruction is what, or rethinking and reclaiming is what do states actually have the right to say yes and no to. Just because the Constitution says all powers that the federal government currently has, the states now consume. Okay, let's define what that actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make a better definition of what the state powers are. Instead of saying federalism ends here, let's say state powers end here and federalism begins at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm tired of being against things, because just being against things means you're living in fear and you have to fight against something at all times. You have to have an enemy and a bad guy. I want to be for things where we have a constitution that works for us. And that inspector branch that Shane is talking about, one of the things I would propose, and one of the ways that you make things like that work with guardrails, is you include the ability to vote them out whenever the necessity arises. When the necessity arises and enough people say, and enough of the population, whatever percentage it is, says this person needs to be reconsidered, a vote then happens to vote that person out through popular consent, not through elected official consent or public servant consent, because that's just saying the fox can run the hen house.
Right.
You need the hens to run the damn hen house, and you need the chickens to come back to roost. And so assholes need to get voted out when we say enough is enough. Yeah. And that is part of the inspector branch. It is a civil branch, not based on the executive or current Congress or current judicials, where it is independently elected in as a federal branch of government that is independent of the states, that is allowed to audit and inspect the states for breaking these types of compacts as well. Because if the states are unwilling to live within the rules, then you have a fascist state or an authoritarian state. Like, states should not be laboratories for autocracy. They should be laboratories of democracy. That should be what they are. But red states are laboratories of autocracy, because the federal government isn't brave enough to say, hey, what you're doing is anti-federalism and needs to stop.
Yeah. And it's like, the other thing we need to understand, guys, too, is it's not just the federal government. It's your state and local officials. Okay. Like, the
like
whole
Sarah Huckabee
system
Sanders
is rotten. It's rotten, guys. And like, I know it's scary to imagine, like, well, what if we don't have a government? Like, if Congress, if Congress doesn't work, okay, like, and like, again, I'm going to be candid here. Why are Schumer and Jeffries constantly settling? Why are they constantly making deals? What is going on? Why is Chuck Schumer supporting Israel when Israel and Kushner and Witkoff are meeting all the time? When Trump is deeply invested in Israel, when Palantir is deeply invested in Israel, when the genocide in Gaza is happening, and Schumer is shipping off billions of thermobaric bombs to evaporate children in Palestine, like, that serves the regime. He's serving the regime. That by doing that, they serve the regime. So the question becomes, if they're doing that and in a roundabout way, they're actually supporting them, then what are the Democrats? And if that's the case, right? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she did, oh my God, incredible job at the security summit in Munich. She had a great speech, right? Why did she go there to say that? Because she's trying to warn Europe. She's trying to warn Europe what these guys are going to do. And there's a lot of, the Democratic Party, guys, it's as rotten as the other. If you think they haven't been slowly going in and buying these Democrats over the course of the last year, you're kidding yourselves. You're kidding yourselves. Like, it's actually of better benefit to them if they can buy enough where they can say, oh, this is all bipartisan. This is what America wants. So again, we are choosing to lack creativity when we've seen this model. They buy parliaments. People buy parliaments all the time. People buy judges all the time, all around the world. India is going through their own constitutional crisis right now. Okay, their Supreme Court just let them basically purge their voter rolls. Like, yeah, you purge whoever you want, right? That's fine. Okay, like, this is not abnormal. What is abnormal is our apathy. What is abnormal is our willingness to kind of just say, okay, I don't know, like no one, like this doesn't, the rest of the world, because they didn't have democracy, because they haven't always had democracy. They know when their democracy is going to shit, and they know when that democracy is going down. They know what the action, like they know actions required. Like we still are unfortunately trapped in the consumerist cycle. Like we haven't been able to escape. I think people are starting to realize that what's going to break consumerism isn't our willingness to decouple, but our willingness, that our financial ability to participate in consumerism. I don't know if I told you this fact, Nick. So last year, 50% of spending was done by 10% of people. So the reality is, and I've talked about this K curve, like we can't even consume anymore. Like it's literally, maybe that's what needs to happen. But like until people look up and they're like, oh, well, I have no rights. Oh, I can get executed in the street, because you can. It's been proven. Those guys got what, leave?
Yeah, I forget. Like I think they're put on leave.
That's it. They executed a guy in the street. They violated his Second Amendment rights, and they killed him. They shot a woman in the face. I think that guy's on leave. There was videos of challenge coins, like, in that car that came out. Like if the government doesn't protect you, then the government doesn't serve you. If the government doesn't serve you, then you don't have a government. So my question to you is, we all really need to think really hard if we even have a government or not. Or are we watching a reality TV show that plays out on Capitol Hill every day that's just meant to give the impression that maybe somehow things will get better, without direct action, without real collective demands? What are our demands? What do we want? What do we want? We don't just want the Epstein files. We don't want to just prosecute these people. Even if you get rid of them and the barrel's still rotten, we're going to get more rotten billionaire. Like, unless you address the barrel is capitalism. Okay.
The barrel is also legalized. It's legalized bribery in the United States,
which can only come from a capitalist system that allows money to like it's like, oh, you can't hate capitalism, Shane. I fucking hate capitalism, because I'm stressed all the time. I don't see a future where I feel like I'm gonna have money. I don't feel like relaxed. None of people my age think we're ever gonna get a house. We fucking work all day, come home, we got nothing other than our apartment we rent, whatever the case. I'm lucky enough to have a home to live in. It's not something that a lot of people have. But the reality is, like, you got dirt, guys. They got everything. 14 people, more than 50% of the world's population. It ain't right. It ain't right. And it's okay to say that. It's just not right.
Yeah. And so here's rooting it back into our techno talk and just technology in general is something that I've advocated for a lot. And I will continue to advocate for, because technology does have the power to make a lot of money. AI has the power to make a lot of wealth. Minimum basic income. Instead of guaranteeing a minimum basic income and a maximum income in the US, where we could distribute funds appropriately for social programs and systems that actually work. So, Shane and I could come on here and talk about this, and we wouldn't have to be like, hey, come subscribe to us for money. Instead, we could just be like, hey, just come listen to us because we enjoy what we're doing, and we don't have to worry about the funds to do it, because guess what? Our tax dollars have already paid for it. And all of our intellect over generations and generations, the entirety of human intellect has gone into creating these systems. We should get something out of them.
Yeah.
That's what the government could do. That's what the government should be doing, is returning the investments through social services back into our lives, where we could just do the work and the creativity. We have those powers. We have the money in the US to do that. Like Shane said, 14 fucking people, most of them are from the US, who have that money, that are controlling the world. We could tax the shit out of them. And if they run somewhere else, that country can help bring them back and just give them back to us. And then we just tax the shit out of them and take all their assets because it's all digital anyway. So who gives a shit? We can freeze them. And then we fix the banking industry and the fintech industry, because the fintech industry is Wild West and people like to build shit in there that just steals them money, because regulations shouldn't, like, don't ever stop them. And so we should be looking at where it's getting back. I think I broke up there for a second. Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
Hey y'all,
Back
what's up?
15 seconds.
Internet's doing its thing. The thing is, like, technology itself is like, these technologists have built a system on the backs of our labor that should just come back to us. We could regulate that in. Regulations are the easiest way to do that and get this money back. And then if they don't want to pay it, well, then we take their assets. And like I said, fintech needs to be fixed. The financial technology services and sector needs to get a really, 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 really hard look at, because my son made an interesting comment yesterday, and he's 9. He made an interesting comment yesterday that he was like, we need to stop all the bank robberies. There's a lot of bank robberies out there. I was like, what do you mean by bank robberies? I was like, do you mean like somebody going into a bank and robbing it? He's like, maybe. I was like, because that really doesn't happen very much anymore. I was like, however, banks do on the technology side get robbed a lot, or do robbery a lot. And he was like, that. He was like, we need to fix that. That's happening a lot. Yeah. How my 9-year-old knows about that and is talking about that should scare people. That capitalism has gone so broken that children who have no understanding of real financial stakes or any of this shit are asking questions about, why are people robbing banks so much still? Or how are they doing it?
Why are they so desperate? Like, here's the, like, again, it's like,
it's not even the desperate people who are robbing the banks is the thing. It's not us. We're the desperate ones. Like, all of us normal people are the desperate ones who are like, man, it's that intrusive thought of like, man, I should rob a bank, but I'm not going to, because that's illegal as shit. And if I get caught, I'll go to jail and the money will get taken and my kids will not have anything anyways. But it's the rich people who are doing it and getting away with it and saying it's your fault for being poor because we took all your money and you let us do it. And that's what we should be talking about this all the time. We should be talking about people like Peter Thiel, who are stealing our assets and stealing our wealth to try and kill millions of us, because that's what they want. They want 2/3 of the US population gone. They think we're 2/3 overpopulated. They want 100 million people. Most people don't know that. The US population is like 340. That's 240 million people that would need to be murdered or killed off in order to have their population size. That's a big fucking deal, and we should be talking about it, because that's the policies they're enacting. And if we don't want to talk about those things, what do we have for? Somebody said in the chat, maybe it's time for a manifesto. I don't like manifestos. Those elicit negative emotions. Those elicit emotions of fear towards people because they're not understood. You can write a manifesto as a policy document and not call it a manifesto.
Call it a statement of intent. Call it
a statement of intent, and your message will probably get across a lot better than if you say this is a manifesto, because manifestos elicit that fake fear of communism and that fake Red Scare thing, or the Red Scare thing, where that's where we got in God we trust on our dollar bills, and adding under God in the Pledge of Allegiance, things like that. Like, we can walk all of those things back to remove the rot that is there, because you don't have to burn down the whole system. Like, if we use our barrel analogy, which I think is a really good one, is to fix a barrel, you don't have to burn down the whole damn barrel. Even if there's some rotten apples in it, you make a hole in the barrel, or you take out one of the staves off the barrel and you put a new one in.
Or
Or
like,
you take off 3 or 4 of them if it's a big area and you let a whole bunch of bad apples fall out, and then you fix the hole. And you go, we're going to abscise that wound out of here. We don't need them. We imprison the ones that need to go to prison. We get rid of the loopholes that allow rich people to get away with crimes, such as taking away settlements in litigation, so that rich people can't just pay off poor people and get away with their crimes. We get rid of lobbying. We get rid of Citizen United. We get rid of the actual bad apples. And then we get rid of the big pieces around the bad apples that are infecting them. Where the infections come from, we don't let the apples sit there and then rot more. It's like JFK with his brain worm. You don't add a new brain worm to a broken brain expecting to fix the broken brain. You just rot more of it. You don't fix RFK. I don't know what you're talking about. We're going to inject the children with diseases and all that vaccines instead.
hey, they're bringing back we're going to bring back radium treatment. They put radium on the watches. Sorry, I'm dying. Oh, fuck. I mean, like, and I want to add to your analogy, dude, because, like, it's good. So I'm going to even take it even further. If your barrel's rotten, barrels, you've got 2 big old steel rings down the top. Do you need to throw away those if all the wood's rotten? No. Get yourself some new wood and use the constraints that you already have. We have constraints. It's called the Constitution of the United States. We have a model. We have something that can hold the barrel together, but we need to rebuild the barrel. It's
amendments can be removed. Amendments can be amended.
Amendments. The entire point of the Constitution being amendable is that it needs to be amended. And the fact of the matter is that most governments don't go as long as ours without any functional change to the structure of the government at all. The majority of countries have redone their constitution many, many times. I think France has been through 5.
And to be honest, the only reason we're talking about this is because in the last 50 to 70 years, we have not amended the Constitution. We haven't. We just stopped. We said, we're good. We're done now. We haven't amended it in decades. This is the only time in U.S. history that the Constitution was not amended every 20-ish years, if not. Like, we put in a whole bunch of amendments back to back to back to back over the course of the U.S. history, which changed the way the U.S. functioned. Only in the last few decades have we decided that the Constitution is unamendable. We decided that as a nation because we were told it was. We were told we're good. This is good. The document's at the best it's going to be. No, the fuck it's not.
It sucks.
No, the fuck it's not. Like, it's not very good right now, y'all. Like, we could easily add a couple one-line amendments in. Voting is guaranteed to all people, and it is the government's burden to disprove your citizenship, not yours as an individual. There you go. I fixed voting right fucking there. Next one, ranked choice voting is mandatory. Okay, cool. Fixed voting
college.
right there. Electoral college is no longer there. The president is a popular vote only. Oh, look at that. We fixed most of the voting right there. Lobbying, illegal. Amendment. No corporate lobbying. You cannot buy politicians. Money given to politicians or gifts given to politicians should be written into the Constitution as illegal at all times. You should get your salary, and that's it. I don't even give a shit about term limits for Congress because term limits functionally might not work. Voting works better than term limits.
Get rid of them.
If we don't like someone, vote them out. And parties, guess what? We need to get out of this thing where parties get to dictate when the elections happen. States dictate the elections independent of parties. Parties are a functional apparatus to give you different groups to live in. They don't get to say, no, you can't have a recall election. The party is just a functional apparatus for us to simplify our voting tools. They are not the rulers of elections. We have been lied to on so many things in this country. If enough people get together in a state and say, we're going to hold an election tomorrow,
Yes.
what the fuck is the party going to do? They don't
Yes.
get to have a say because states run elections, not parties. Parties are federal systems,
Yeah.
not state systems.
Your governor doesn't need to be able to go to sleep until you have an election, right? Your governor doesn't need to be able to go to sleep. Like, you could be outside
Who
his
gives a
house
shit what
every
your
day.
governor has to say?
Sit in everywhere. Sit in all day, every day until they call a snap election. And guess what? If they won't run elections, why can't we have an election tomorrow? Why can't we have a popular vote? Does the government have to recognize it? No. But if the world, it's about sending a message. And here's the other big thing.
I'm not talking about, and I want to make sure I'm very clear. I am not advocating for states' rights or federal rights. I am advocating for citizen rights.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of the conversation being actually, and I'll try and stop work, and I'll work on that too, on how I modulate myself in these discussions, is framing it in a much better, in a different way. Because what we're actually advocating for are citizen rights, not states' rights, not federal rights. It is the right of the citizens to recall elected officials and public servants. That's what I want. I want the right of citizens to be more powerful as a unit,
correct,
than the right of a party.
Yeah.
Because the citizenry of a state should be able to, without parties, because parties are just apparatuses of lobbying groups, are just corporate lobbying groups put into functional groups that say, here's your elected officials for this one group, here's another for another group. They should not and do not realistically have, constitutionally, do not have the power to tell us when we have elections. Citizens have that power. We get to call for new elections. If if enough people in the US just, or in your state or in your district, said, I don't like our representative anymore, if enough people said we're going to do that, the party apparatus does not get to tell you, no, we will not hold a recall election. The state gets to go. If you get enough people in a state and say, we're holding this vote and we are recalling, we are voting right now, and enough people have signed on to this petition that we demand a recall, and it goes through and it has to happen. We should be amending and talking about how states can do recalls and ensuring that citizens have rights and not states have rights, or not feds have rights. Citizens have rights. States and feds have restrictions and regulations. We get rights and freedoms. They get restrictions and regulations.
Yeah, the restrictions need to be not on us, but on the states, right?
On corporations,
on the government, on the corporations, right? The fundamental basis of any kind of written law should not be to protect institutions, but to protect people. And so, the reason I say, we'll hold an election. Okay, guys, it's about legitimacy. Here's the other thing that's going on in Europe. They're actually, we could really see some prosecution here in Europe. Mm-hmm. We could really see it. This is an opportunity. We have to understand that the world is fucking afraid of America, because we might be a paper tiger. We might be, have our glass cannon that once we shoot it, we're kind of a dud, but we haven't shot it yet. Right. And so, I don't give a shit about nukes. No one's going to fucking fire any nukes. Like, half of our nukes, all the nuclear programs are aging, other than China, and China has no incentive to launch any nukes anywhere. Our government.
No one wants to launch nukes.
No one wants to launch nukes. In fact, nuclearization is so fucking dumb. It doesn't make any sense. The whole thing is stupid, and no one really wants to end the world. You have no country, or it's dumb. So don't worry about America's nuclear power. Okay. Because Like it's whatever. So the world is like trying to figure out how to deal with America. The Epstein files are a gift. If they prosecute in Europe, okay, puts pressure on the American government, right? Because then basically they acknowledge that America's run by pedophiles. If they arrest the people in the Epstein files, they treat them as credible. That means that they're also treating credibly that Donald Trump is in there a million times. He's a rapist, he's a pedophile, he's a criminal, he's a Russian agent, and that's that. That it's credibility, right? The same can be true with an election. Even if they don't choose to recognize the election, a citizen organized popular vote that's calling for the dissolution of the government with new elections. Imagine you get 200 and something million people to sign on to something. The world, they can't ignore that. And if they do, the world has a choice. Okay, well, 2/3 of America just said they don't want their government. So we can ask too, 2/3, part of this vote, stop treating with America. Stop doing things with America. Like we're saying this is not our government. Don't treat with our government in this way. We're calling for new elections. We can call for independent poll watchers. There's plenty of Canadians who I know would be willing. Like Canada, if you asked really not, if we came together and we said to Canada, hey, we're asking for poll watchers. Like we need independent observation. Go to the UN. There's bodies all over the world. They supervise elections all the time because democracy and election fraud is a very common issue. And democratic backsliding, if you don't watch these elections, nothing happens. So we have power in numbers. It's legitimacy. They are losing legitimacy by the day. The fact that the president is undeniably a rapist pedophile and it's in public documents published by the United States government and that everyone in his cabinet is in the Epstein files and they're all child rapists and like that's really like you can't it's objectively true, right? It's like you can't speculate like, oh, I don't know. I mean, look, if you're mentioned a million times, there's no way you haven't raped a kid. Like even just one, like there's no way he's mentioned a million times and he hasn't raped children, right? And it would be bad enough if it was just him, but it's all of them. It's every single one of them. It's the Democrats, it's the Republicans, it's everything. So why not just vote? Why not just use our democracy that's given to us? If you're born in this country as a citizen, if you're naturalized as a citizen and you've done your time, if you're even a legal resident, you don't necessarily have to vote at the time, but you can help go out and network. You can get citizens to sign things. You can help be part of that, right? And who says our vote? Who says that legal residents can't vote? If we want our vote to have legal residents in it, sure. We're capable of setting up a vetting system. Mm-hmm. We're capable of setting up a system where we can verify only one person gets a vote. It's not hard to do these things. People build these things for the government. We can build these things for ourselves. There is no mandate that things need to be done the way they're done. We are engaged in a social contract with our government, and we have the right to terminate that contract if we feel it is no longer mutually beneficial. It's not. Are you in Texas? Are you in Tennessee? Are you in Missouri? Are you in South Carolina? Are you in North Carolina? Are you in Florida? You're getting fucking destroyed right now. Where's FEMA? Where's your help? What do you pay taxes for? Well, you can see where your FEMA money is. It's in the warehouses they're converting all over your states. Not helping you, right? So,
and one of the things, like we mentioned, the like nuclear weapons and things like that. Yes, Trump could launch them. Am I going to live in fear that he's going to? No.
Yeah.
Because that's paralyzing. Fear of the danger that we know that they could present is giving into the bully and saying, because I have this big stick and I'm going to possibly hit you with it, you do what I say. Well, no. Just because they have the button for the weapon, is he going to use it? Maybe. Is there a distinct chance that some crazy asshole dictator or wannabe dictator decides they're going to use a nuclear weapon on their own people and kill a whole bunch and start a war because of it, yes, we think creatively here. I allow for creative thinking. If you can imagine the damage or the negative action that they will do, they've imagined it too and probably have plans on how to do it. That said, I'm not going to let myself live in fear
Yeah.
of the possible outcomes. I'm going to prepare for them and I'm going to take them seriously, but I'm going to present to us forward thinking outcomes on how we achieve this. Like the whole idea here is we need to radically improve democracy, but it's founded on democracy and it's founded on human values and human dignity. And we can't use that fear to isolate and stop us. We use it to sharpen and hone us and get us into a better position so that when the opportunity arises, we can take it and win. Because it's not about red versus blue states. It's not about the fact that there are people underwater in Washington state or had a huge fucking rainstorm that and flooding that nobody talked about on national news. And we have flooding all over in different places and freezing cold in different areas and nobody wants to talk about it. And our weather systems are degraded because the technology is being taken away, because weather balloons aren't being put up, because we're removing money and things like that from areas that we should actually be using real tech and good tech that we had to create active and predictive models. Where AI could have been useful is predicting and making incredibly good models and analysis of weather patterns and hurricanes. Instead, we're taking away those functionalities, which impacts all of us, not red, not blue, but all of us.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Is it's not us versus them. It's us versus 14 of them.
Or
Plus
yeah,
the
14
coterie of
world.
assholes that go around them.
It can be the world versus these 14 guys, right? It's all of us, right? Because like, here's the thing. I said this the other day, January 29th, UN puts out a report, global water bankruptcy. Okay. 6 billion people in imminent threat, imminent danger from water shortage. Why? Because these billionaires, these rich and powerful people, these dictators, they divvy off resources as they please, right? You know, a lot of our groundwater is getting depleted in a lot of these Western states. You know who's using these facilities? It's not American companies. It's fucking Saudis. It's the Saudis. It's the Emiratis. They've bought up all of this land. They don't care, right? Like billionaires, these powerful people, they don't care about you and they also don't care about the planet. But the planet's coming for you in your home, on your wherever you are. We more than ever need to be united against what is coming, because they have decided for us that we are going to face a climate catastrophe. That was their decision that we allowed them to make because we didn't do anything to stop them. And some of us weren't here, right? Some of us weren't here. Some of us were. Okay. Like, but now we're all here together. Okay. So I didn't make any of these decisions. I'm a 25-year-old guy, but I'm here saying I want to work with each and every one of you to help America exist in the world that they've created for us, that they've curated for us with their greed. Like these are not irregular storms. This is a functional shift in the dynamics of Earth's climate. This is a real, tangible, functional shift. We need to work together to fight this. Time is not a luxury, guys. I hate to be this guy. I'm not being alarmist. I'm being transparent. Okay. This is not normal. This is not an odd winter. Okay. Like we're coming after year. It's getting weirder. Okay. Every centigrade. Like I know it's really easy just to say, oh, it was a weird year, but it's not. And like them burning this coal, them rolling back these things, and it's going to make things worse. We don't know anything. The climate scientists don't know anything. And they know what could happen, but they lack imagination. The fringe models are the ones that are tracking right now. So we need to be ready to work together as a country to deal with this, because it's not something that a place without a centralized functional government, right? This is our opportunity for a Great New Deal. We need to remake America for a whole different world, the world where this Constitution was written, that's in place. is long, long gone. And we need an American constitution and an American government for a world that is post-capitalism, that is post-billionaire oligarchy hegemony, and we need it quick. We need it fast, and we need to figure out how to take action, because, and that starts, again, you guys got to go out and have this discussion. Like got to go out and have this discussion. Like the leaked plan for the economic negotiations between Russia and the United States. I think Bloomberg put it out. It was a while ago. But in that plan, one of the agreements was to push the world away from sustainable energy towards the use of liquid natural gas and fossil fuels. Like, they actually just are like, they want to go backwards. So like, we can't afford to go backwards because 180 people are dead across the United States from a storm that they haven't even had a press conference on. Biden would have fucking made a statement. Where are the normal standard things? Where are the press conferences? Where is the transparency? Where's the communication? Like, I remember growing up, Obama would get up there and he'd let us know what was going on. When something big happened, he made a speech. He didn't tweet. He got up there. He put us in front. He put himself in front of us and he talked, and I could see him, and I felt like I could see who was doing the job. All I see, like, where they've slowly weaned us onto accepting insult. It's a strategic exposure plan, because they control the media, because they're able to normalize at just enough to make us just realize and slowly accept, right? You know,
the frogs in the boiling water.
Right. I could shoot a man in the middle of Fifth Avenue. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? They didn't do it on Fifth Avenue, but they did do it. Minnesota, Minneapolis, they shot a guy in the middle of the street. Normalized. It's normal. But it just happens. Billionaires, they have all the money. Doesn't matter. They do whatever they want. Like, that's normal. Oh, rich people in politics. Politics are always corrupt. Normalized. Like, you know, ask your kid, right? If Nick goes and brings his 9-year-old up here or whatever, but my point being is, hey, do you think that someone who's in charge of making laws should be able to take money and do things for other people? He's going to say, no, Dad, that's wrong. Because that's wrong. Listen to the 9-year-old. If the 9-year-old would say it's wrong, all of these great studies about, they give a kid a sandwich. The kid will choose to go and share that sandwich out of their own choice with someone else that doesn't. Because generally speaking, kids are not, they're not tainted, right? They're not tainted by this. Like, they just want to do what they think is right. Like, I would love to do what I think is right, but we're all forced into this individualism that we have to survive separately. And what we need to realize is that's all by design. And we can just, I think the last thing is, I know we're over. Let's terminate the social contract. Let's just be done with it. Like, they are no longer holding up their end of the bargain. Full stop. Go to your states, go to your local officials, go to your communities. You don't even need a state or local official. Hold a full-blown vote. Knock on every door in your community. You can say, hey, you know, driver, what is your driver's license number? What is this? Would you like to be part of this vote? Okay. And then you can go get everyone in your freaking town to vote, and then go to the mayor and said, we all voted, do this right now. Or
demand your town actually hold some city council meetings and have your mayor hold meetings. And if they refuse to, then hold a special election in your community to vote them out.
Vote.
What's stopping you? What's stopping you? The parties? Yeah. Who the fuck are the parties? They're just a bunch of billionaires who advocate for the same fucking things and no change, and they don't want us to get better and have better lives. So fuck them.
We don't need the election.
Whether it be the Republicans, whether it be the Democrats, it doesn't matter. The parties are founded on us in the long run, and we have the collective power to change it. It is e pluribus unum, out of many one. That is the national motto of the United States, not in God we trust. That is a Christian nationalist motto that they put in during the Red Scare to scare us about communism and Russians.
Yeah.
Which we probably should be scared about some of the Russians out there. There's some pretty bad ones.
Yeah.
But there's also some really bad Americans out there. There's some really bad South Africans out there. There's some really bad people just around the world who have been given permission in America to do those bad things because we
Correct.
refuse to hold them accountable for their actions. And what is coming is accountability.
Yep.
Accountability is coming. Accountability will come because the people are waking up, the people are loud, the people are seeing what's happening. And yes, it doesn't always feel like things are happening, but the more we continue to discuss these things, the more we do, the more that moves. And it will start moving quickly because once that boulder starts rolling,
Yeah.
it picks up steam and
Yep.
things happen. And when at the bottom of that boulder, at the bottom of that hill that we're looking at right now, that we're pushing towards, guess what? There's a barrel full of rotten apples that we're going to smash apart and fix and
And then
rebuild through constitutional amendments, through voting systems that work, through removing money in politics, through removing the influence of individuals over that control entire governmental systems and telecommunications platforms and things that should be owned on a government level, like nationalizing certain industries. Elon Musk, all that space exploration stuff you're doing.
NASA now.
NASA now. Thanks for all
Thanks.
that support, bro.
Thank you.
Giving us our money back because that's
Oh,
what we should
that's a
do.
gift. Palantir. Wow. Thank you for all of the security data. Since you chose to integrate into the federal treasury, we're going to have to seize all your shit. Sorry, bro.
Yep.
Oh, since you
Oh, and guess
control.
what? It all goes back to the people because
Yeah,
that's what can
damn.
happen because
Oh,
we're thinking too small. People, just as my final reminder, is we are thinking too small and we're thinking within the bounds that the parties and the corporatists have given us. Think outside those bounds, be creative. Think of creative solutions for creative problems. Stop
creative.
being so strict and so black and white in your thought processes. Stop being so rigid. Have some gray area. Go into that ground that is uncomfortable, where you challenge yourself to have new ideas and do it because we're have boring ideas are not going to fix novel problems. Novel solutions fix novel problems. And the US needs some novel solutions right now, and we built that into our system. It's called constitutional amendments.
Yep.
So Shane and I are going to be heading off here. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone. Let's do our final piece, which is we promote ourselves because
Yeah.
unfortunately we do live in a capitalistic society where money is important and we have to make some money off of this so that we can survive and continue to bring you all these broadcasts and build and grow and do more, and get more active and create better systems for the creators that do not rely on these big techno fascists, because we're working on things like that and offering tools so everybody has an easier time, and aren't controlled. So thank you all for being here. Help support Banner and Backbone. That's
Please.
where we bring this together and spread this information. And soon I'm going to be starting to figure it out because Restream just added the functionality to do both landscape and portrait mode for phone and
Nice.
desktop at the same time with the plan that I have. So I'm going to try and
Cool.
test out to see if we can start broadcasting on to some of the other platforms that we don't like as much. But getting our voices out there is important because if we break through the noise cycle, we can bring people to where we want them and where they can find us, like here on Substack right now, which is our main platform at the moment. And so come subscribe, come become a paid or free subscriber here on Substack. We appreciate it. It would be awesome. Helps pay all the bills, and it helps get to the point where we can start adding in additional people and team members and really doing things that are the important thing, because we're not taking large donations. We don't have any political consultants. I don't have a huge consulting firm behind me. I don't have lawyers or legal teams behind us. It's just us doing this with y'all. So thank you for being a part of it, and please support Banner and Backbone if you can. While you're at it, Shane, promote yourself, my brother.
Absolutely. So, guys, I'm a lot of things. I do a geopolitical report every day. I talk about kind of geopolitics and all the things that are going on around the world, why they pertain to you, why it matters. Um, and so I'm really passionate about that. I'm passionate about corporate corruption. I'm passionate about putting together puzzle pieces, and so we're constantly refining the content. We're constantly trying to deliver on the best way to do that for you guys, and to have that be as engaging as possible. So when I say we, I kind of mean me. So
The royal we.
yeah,
You got other minds in there that you talk with, that mindfulness.
Yes, this is true. Nick is a good sounding board. There are people, I got people in my life as well, that are helping me out. So, there's a lot of options and things, but we're constantly working on making it better. And like Nick said, there's no one in the back, there's no financiers, there's no money for us in the background in terms of support. So if you want to be able to financially support us and whatnot, we really appreciate it. And it's a great way to do that. And the last thing I think I would say is, remember, the next time you're talking to someone about someone in the Epstein files, tell them about the barrel. Remind them that it's not just that there's a bad apple. Remind them of the rest of the phrase, because what's more important than justice for even Donald Trump in the Epstein files is justice for the people against a system that has made these monsters possible. And that requires real creativity. And that's what we're really good at. Stop consuming, start creating, because that's where we lost our way. And I think if we can create anything, we can create a government that works for us. Who's like, so come support us as we try to be a part of that, and in whatever capacity we're doing that. And at the Firebrand Project, that's bringing you guys access to information that can help you guys put together the whole story. And, lots more to come. I'm constantly evolving and trying to do new things. So I hope you can come support me over there as well.
And we're, to boost even more for Shane, Firebrand Report every Monday through Friday. We are now cross-posting or cross-streaming with Banner and Backbone. And I'm going to be working with Shane to help introduce him more into this system so he can stream on all of the Banner and Backbone platforms for his Firebrand project and the Firebrand Report, because that's super important, because his message getting out there and the geopolitics he's discussing is something that's underreported and under-discussed, and he does a really good job at it. So Shane, you're doing awesome, man. Keep it up.
Appreciate it, brother.
Go support Shane. He deserves your support. Then while you're at it, come support me. Sick of the Shit Publications. Do a lot of discussions on mindfulness, wellness, but the main thing I touch a lot on is masculinity. Better humaning is the underlying theme, but a lot of problem for men right now. We're doing a lot of stuff that's not really good. We're pretty shitty at the moment, and it's on us to fix it. It's not on others. We cannot outsource our accountability to others. We must be able to live with the consequences of our actions and values, and that's what I'm trying to do on Sick of This Shit Publications. Thanks to whoever scanned the QR code. Appreciate you. Come join me there. You'll see Qasim Rashid Esquire tomorrow, as I do an intelligent masculinity discussion with him there. We're doing some incredible other shows just with masculinity and touching on better humaning, because if we can do that, if we can fix ourselves, we can fix the problem. Like, as we fix ourselves, and create a better society where it's more equitable, more equal, and we actually value human dignity and decency just as a baseline, all the rest of our problems will start following suit, because then we'll see things from a human-centric point of view and not a money or whatever centric point of view that is not productive. So come hang out at Sick of the Shit Publications, come hang out at the Firebrand Project, and then again, come hang out here at Banner and Backbone. We appreciate y'all for being here with us every week. We really appreciate y'all being here on Palantalk with us. And as we always say, this is Palantalk. We'll be back next week. What is it? Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern,
10
a.m. PST. Actually, we'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah,
Tuesday, February 17th. with Zev Shalev at 1 p.m.
I'm looking forward to that.
Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. We'll be doing a special episode with Zev Shalev tomorrow,
Cool.
discussing the Epstein class, who are also techno-fascists. So the techno-fascist Epstein class is going to be our discussion tomorrow. We'll be hitting on Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and that lot. So we'll see y'all tomorrow. And then we'll see you again next week for our regularly scheduled Palantalk at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. We're here on Palantalk. We like to talk tech.
No fascism.
Thanks, y'all. Have a great day.